All right, fellas, Dane Espegard is with us today. I love giving this introduction because I'm going to start with the fact that Dane is a close friend. And for anybody that's in this community, when I say he's in my band, you'll know exactly what that means. For people outside the community, we have small groups inside the FRD Brotherhood, and Dane is one of my bandmates. It's me, Hal, Dane, a guy named Tim Nikolive, and some other clown, Justin, who I don't know how he got into the group. But anyway, Dane and I and the boys were very close. We get together monthly. We talk about life. We focus on family, of course, parenting, marriage. And then, of course, we love to talk about growing our businesses. But it's all with the respect that family comes first and the conversations follow that flow. Outside of that, most important part to Dane's world is his beautiful wife, his 3 girls. He has a new daughter that was added to the Espegard crew. By the way, how's that going?
Yes. Oh, Sunny is awesome. It's been great. So she's like 5.5 months now.
Yeah, it's so wonderful, man. I miss you guys, by the way, like getting our families together.
Yeah.
So I've seen Dane, but our families haven't hung out in a little bit. So that we're long overdue for. I can also tell you guys that from a business perspective, which again, our community is made up with many business owners and entrepreneurs. We love our work. We want to do good work in the world. And Dane is doing some good stuff. We both spent time in the Cutco world. So those who've been tracking this show for a while will know that back when I was 18, I started selling knives for the summer. And these are incredible knives, really high quality. What sounds kind of like a joke, like I'm selling knives for the summer, turned out to be one of the most incredible companies I was ever fortunate enough to have stumbled into. And that may actually be exactly how I walked into the interview. I might have stumbled. Could have been drunk. It's possible at that point in my life. But what's really wild is I found myself immersed in this culture of people who were interested in personal growth at a very young age, reading books, talking about managing their time, setting goals. And not only was I in the space and surrounded by people who are interested in bettering themselves and becoming better business owners, but I then started teaching. Like, they welcomed me to the stage. Hey, what's working for you, John? So I started speaking in front of small groups at a very young age. Then I just stayed with that company for what was then 14 years. Some of my best friends in the world come from that organization. And that organization, it's a big, successful company and has been operating for many, many years. People who I meet now as an entrepreneur in my life, they'll say, "Oh man, you're from the Cutco world? Like, holy cow, like there's a whole army of you guys out there that are the most incredible people." And Cameron Harold, my buddy, has said that many times. And I was just with Dan Martell, and he said that about Cutco. And Keith Yackey said that about Cutco. And it was just so interesting to hear the reputation. Well, I lay all that as the foundation to say that Dane is about to break a company record this year. He is a division manager within Cutco. And what that means is he leads offices who lead sales reps. And ultimately, the company is made up of incredible division managers. These are all rock stars. And Dane is about to set a company record. By the way, Dane, how long has Cutco been? Cutco Vector, I'll consider it all one, but how long has it been operating now?
Yeah, since 1949. So 75-year anniversary coming up.
Holy cow, man. It's so wild. Well, so he's looked at in that company with great respect and admiration for what he's been able to accomplish. And I think that what's cool about Dane from a personal perspective about his bio is that he's extremely intelligent and has humility in his vibe is the one that I respect the most, which is I want you to be able to go out and crush it in the world. And I want you to also be respectful and like open to new things. And that's exactly what Dane is. He's also incredibly talented with any lawn game that you put before him.
It's one of the things I'm most proud about.
A little side. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's the first time he ever played it. He's probably going to beat you. He has a reputation for it. It's pretty amazing and kind of frustrating, to be honest, but it's really, really, really good. Dane also invests in real estate, has done well there. And the thing we want to talk about today is his work with dreams. And he wrote a book called The Dream Machine. He has spent time building a software, which we're going to get into today. And he works with companies, people within Front Row Dads, business owners have hired Dane, brought Dane in to speak to their groups. And he, at this point now, been at it for a little while and has kind of like tapped into multiple different markets and brought this message of, really understanding the power of our dreams. And I'm not going to try to attempt to say what Dane should be saying, but to bring the power of our dreams into our daily lives, whether it's our family or our business or anything in between, and ask, how can that move us more in alignment with our values, move us forward collectively? And that excites me. I love knowing what people are dreaming. I love knowing how I can support them. And you can learn more about this at thedreamsvault.com. But we also will be mentioning, so listen to the whole show, because towards the end, we're going to make an offer to everybody here today. So whether you're a member of the Front Row Dads community or not, you and your family will be given an opportunity. This is my teaser. I guess stay to the end to get the info. But we're going to give you an opportunity to join us, to join Dane for a dream session. So tell you more about that later and where to go to get that info. But Dane, that was a longer intro than I normally do. But I just wanted to tell you, I mean, now we have 3 minutes left in the show to get into the questions in your life. But the reason I wanted to say all that is, one, I wanted to honor you. I want you to know how I feel about you. And I really want people to know a fraction of what I know about you. So I could have spent hours, as many of us can when we introduce our friends that we love. But I just want people to know what you're up to, and you're up to some really, really cool things. So thank you for making time, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I any chance I get to be on the horn with you, I love it.
Well, we yeah, we're usually not talking on a mic. We're usually sitting at a restaurant, or I'm at your house, right? So, or something to that effect, watching amazing magicians do their work.
Fire dancers.
Inside jokes. But brother, so let's talk a little bit about dreams. I want to just launch right into that. We had you on the show when you launched the book, and now a couple years have passed, and I'm excited to talk about all of what's happened since then. I also want to make a little tease to the fact that you're going to be with us live. I think people will hear this probably a week before the event, but you'll be with us downtown Austin doing some of this, not exactly what we're doing today, but doing a dreams workshop at the event. So in a way of building momentum to that, let's start with, can you just take from the launch of the book? Actually, hold on. Go back and create a little context, if you will, on how did the whole dreams thing come to be for anybody that's finding this that doesn't know you? How did this all
start? So it all started for me going through a dreams workshop at a Cutco conference back in 2000 and would have been 2007 with Matthew Kelly. Yep. Awesome, amazing author and speaker. And he took our whole company through a little dreams workshop. And that's where it started for me. I was kind of on and off with the dream stuff for the first, maybe, I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 years. And then once I moved another time for work within Vector and started another team from scratch, I was going through like, what's the culture that I want in my organization? What's a culture that I'd be excited about, staying with for a very long time? And I settled back on the dreams concept. And so I basically in 2013 went all in on myself, kind of, the idea of leading from the front and saying, if I want this to stick with my organization, I've got to really embody everything about living my dreams. Yeah. And so that's when Brooklyn, my now wife, but we were dating at the time, kind of started going through our dreams list and having that be the main part of what we focus our year on. And then I just lived out loud in front of my organization and helped them make their lists. And then over the years, it's evolved into more of an actual system that we've been doing within our team since 2013.
I'm going to bookend this then. Talk about what just happened and what will happen. Because when we were kind of pre-gaming for this conversation, you mentioned that you had just started this conversation yesterday and you've got something for tomorrow. Yeah. Talk about that for a second.
So we just, we do this annually. My wife and I will go through our dreams list and we set up the next year. And all of this is kind of under the thread of living life by design. And so last night we had our weekly date night, and for the date we went through my wife's dreams list. So I kind of ran her back through the workshop and went through all the 9 categories, and she got a lot more things down on her list. And then tomorrow we're going to meet again. And that's where we'll plan out our 2024. And so when we do that, we each show up with our dreams list, and then we kind of, we don't have one joint one. So we each select from our list the ones we'd love to work towards and pursue for the next year. And that's how we set up our travel. That's how we set up our, cadence of just our year in general.
That's so cool. Talk to me about what happened over the last couple of years, and maybe look at it like, give me some chapter headings, maybe some dreams that you fulfilled, maybe things that evolved with the book or the workshop. Like, what's happened since we talked?
It's been awesome. I mean, so all this, I think I'd be remiss to not share, like, where the book came from was actually a conversation with Justin. And so when I think about, I can go back and highlight so many instances of my relationships, my core relationships, and how they've impacted the direction of life. And that was one. And I think I shared this on the last one, but where all this came from was, this is summer 2020. My book launched September 2021, but the summer of 2020 was, COVID. It was wild. We were trying to figure everything out on the fly with Cutco, and super stressful, not leaving the house, just all of that. Right. So in July, I think it was, Brooklyn sits me down. She texts me in the middle of the workday. I'm just working, in my home office. And she said, "Hey, can you come in here and talk for a little bit?" So I went in there, and she sits me down, and she goes, "Hey, I need to talk to you, and I need you to not respond to what I say first." And I was like, "All right, what's going on?" And she goes, I need you to know you've been a little bitch lately." This is for anybody who's listening, this is my wife. And so I kind of start laughing. I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Hold on." She goes, "And I know you've been under a lot of stress and all this. I think you just need to go out and do some manly things." And so I already reached out to Justin. She knew he'd be down to travel. And she goes, "I already reached out to Justin, and I've booked, you guys are going to go to this ranch out in Montana in September." And I was like,
I love it.
I can't be mad at you calling me out if you went and booked a trip for me to go somewhere with one of my best buds. So then on that trip, Justin was in the process of his book launch. And that's where he said, "You need to write a book. It should be on the Dreams thing." He kind of helped me understand and navigate a little bit of the process of going through it. And so I came home from that and said, "Brooke, Justin thinks I should write a book. This is what it would look like." And she didn't ask any questions. She said yes. She'd been waiting for me to kind of move into kind of my next evolution. And so that's where the stuff started from. And then a year later from that was almost exactly as when my book launched. So that, I would say, that's chapter one, would be, my wife calling me out.
Yeah,
and then Justin be their support.
For sure. And then I want to just fast forward for a minute, because I want to make sure I don't fail to get to this. One of the most recent developments that we know is I know you're pumped about, is this software.
Yeah.
So this was an evolution as the business is growing. Dude, talk to me about that.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled and excited about that. And the reason is, I've been doing the Dreams Workshop internally within my team for a decade now. And so we keep track of all our stuff on Google Sheets, and it's a little chaotic, but it matters so much to me that I've figured out a system internally that is really not that duplicatable for another organization. So the last 2 years I've been doing these workshops, and I know the workshop is great because it gives you that spark of inspiration. It gives you that thing to take home and then do some, internal work on. The challenge with that is there has not been an integration piece for a business or for a family to say, okay, now I have this to track, to plan, to, keep up to date. And so the first year I was kind of on the hunt for, like, who can I partner with to build this? I'm completely inept with technology. So the idea of creating an app or software was really intimidating to me. Front Row Dad connection, Ali Jafarian. We're on a 4-guy hiking trip off the grid in Montana. I could talk for hours on that trip. That was amazing. But I shared with all the guys kind of where I was stuck with the Dreams thing. I said, it's great, it's super fulfilling, but I know there's this other piece that needs to come out for this to kind of reach its full impact. And Ali specializes in tech, has his own tech business that creates things like this. I didn't understand that his skill set was exactly what I needed. So I shared this. He failed. He did not tell me, oh, I could be your guy.
Yeah.
4 months goes by and he calls me and he goes, hey, you know that thing you're trying to build? Have you done it? I said, no. He goes, I could do it. I said, what? You've been sitting on this for 4 months? He's like, I've been trying to get stuff off my plate, but I can't get this out of my head. I know I can be the one to build it. I believe in it. And so we made a partnership. He's been building it since. And we just onboarded our first couple companies and I'm thrilled. And the reason I'm so excited is I know that this is the piece that will allow the culture of dreams to really thrive and grow in different organizations and families.
What's the basic premise of the software? What does it do?
Well, a lot of it comes from we can't grow what we don't track, right? Yeah. And so in the past, it was make your dreams list, and then wherever that lives, sometimes it lives and dies in the same place. So what people do now is they create their dreams list, they upload it into the software. It's really easy to use. So the user, the employee, the family member, whoever, can see all of their dreams in a really nice grid view. When they're ready to tackle some of them, they can activate the dream, and you can create your own steps of progress to say, hey, for that dream to be completed, here are the 7 steps that probably need to happen. You can set some calendar dates in it, and then it'll give you some reminders as it's happening to say, hey, remember next week you got that deadline that you set for yourself. On the corporate side, like the enterprise side, what's great is that HR, leadership, CEO, whoever it may be, has access to see these upcoming target dates, to kind of just do the friendly nudge to say, hey, John, I know you were going to sign up for that race next week. Is there anything I can do to support? And so it just, allows us as leaders in an organization to focus, to kind of have the cheat sheet to get the weekly email that says, here are all the target dates of anybody that's on your team. Here's some stuff that you could do to engage them around their dreams. And the more that we engage people at the core of who they are and what they want, and not what they do for us in terms of work, I think, that's some of the greatest work we can do.
Have you talked to Matthew Kelly about this?
I haven't. No.
Are you going to reach out, or are you going to wait for him to be like, hey man, I heard, how do I get in on
I
this?
would, I give him credit in the book. I would love to get connected with Matthew Kelly and just share how much it's meant to me and how I feel like I'm carrying on the, what he started for me. Right?
Of course. Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Maybe I'll let him know when we start using it too. I want to be one of the early adopters of this, man. I love this. I want to use this in any way that I can at home, in front row dads, for the team. Because I believe in this, man. This is, I think it's really important. I remember years ago having this personal awareness. I certainly didn't invent it. I just had awareness around it, of like the difference between what other people had as their dreams. And if somebody asked me about somebody I loved and cared about, a family member, a friend, like, what are their dreams? It is embarrassing that in almost no situation did I know what that person was really dreaming about. Maybe if they were vocal about it, maybe if they were posting every day that they were going to do an Ironman, I might know, but I likely didn't know the number 2 dream, the number 3 dream, the bigger dream, the one that was a couple years out or whatever. Like, I didn't know those. And it is such an important piece, I think, to be a witness to people's dreams, to rally where you can. I mean, when you talk to any of the guys that teach relationships in business or in life, it's almost always go add value to somebody, go help them. You want to be friends with somebody, go help them do the thing they want to do. Like, that's it. And I think it's the same way with our kids. Like, you want to be a great dad? Like, go help your kids do what they're born to do. You want to help, you want your wife to be a huge fan of yours? Help her live out her dreams.
Yeah.
Like, that's, and by default, like, just how energy works. Like, when you help enough people, who said that? When you help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want. That's like
I don't remember who said it, but I've
one
heard
of the gurus, one of the legends.
I think John Broman.
I think I probably said that first. Other people, I think, have quoted me on that. But yeah, dude, it's awesome to help people chase their dreams, and having some software to track it. Dude, I used to think like how great it would be for somebody made this, to have software about your spouse where you just, whenever you hear things. And there probably is going to be an AI software now that just listens to your phone. Your phone will listen to your wife. You're like, here's her voice. Record your voice into my phone, babe. Then track that voice. Anytime she's around, she goes, My shoe size is a 7. I like the
Yes.
color purple. I hate lilies. You know, like whatever it is. It just summarizes all of what your spouse needs to be loved.
How funny would it be if it just broke the AI though? Because it said the exact opposite numerous times. I love this flower. I hate that.
That's right. The AI is like, dude, sorry, I wish I could help you, but this is too confusing. There's no intelligence in the world that can process the complex needs of this being that you're married to. That's hysterical. That's wild, man. Tell us, Dane, about some of your dreams, man. Like, talk to me about what's on your list. What are you chasing right now? Speaking of people I love and what I want to know about.
Yeah. You couldn't be more spot on though, because even doing this with Brooklyn, we talk all the time about dreams, what we're working towards, but even last night going through her dreams list, I was like, really? That's not, and so it's such an awesome opportunity to just get rid of the day-to-day conversation that you normally have, like who's picking up the kids, who's driving this, who's doing this, like, and actually getting to the heart of hey, I know that we've been in this holding period, which so many people describe that, right, with kids where, well, we're in this like stage of life where it's all about this. It's like, well, I'm not going to be the best me if I'm in a holding period. Like I've got to be working towards some stuff that are really lighting me up for me to be a great dad at home.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't want these formidable years where my kids are watching me to be years that I was like, well, I couldn't do anything because I was too busy with these things. It's like, no, these are the years I want them to remember me saying, hey, I'm going to do that dream, or I'm doing this. And like, I think that makes such a difference in these years. But some of the stuff for me, I have a lot of travel on my list of just destinations and places that I want to.
Like where? Give me one.
So right now, Greece is on my list. I still haven't been because I don't want it to be an add-on to another trip. I want it to be its own.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the one that's most pressing. We just did a RV trip and hit some of the national parks this year that were on my list. So I probably got 5 or 6 destinations done this year, which was exciting. And then I'm a massive sports fan. So I have a lot of like experiences that are tough to schedule, right? Like I'd love to see my team in the Super Bowl or my team in this, the idea of meeting certain individuals that would be cool for me to experience. I just was able with Justin to go to experience like college game day on the set. And that wasn't on my dreams list, but I immediately was like, I just wasn't creative enough to think of that, but I was like, this is awesome. Such a cool experience.
Can't believe he didn't invite me to that. He knows how much I love sports.
I think I remember him saying, I'm so glad John isn't here because he would ask me, what is a first down in football?
Yeah, dude, totally. Yeah.
And then I have I've got a lot of health ones.
Yeah.
That's been a big one for me the last couple of years. Yeah. And then a bunch of career, financial, specifically centered around the dreams one. I was able this week to add some extra benchmarks. Like one of the features on the site that we're going to do is tracking the number of dreams that have been completed. That fires me up to be able to know, like, in the future, 100,000 dreams achieved, and say, I had something to do with that and the impact on that.
So cool, man. My idea brain is already going nuts thinking about all the ways that you can, the visuals of that, like how to bring your dreams to life with visuals, the graphs, the charts, the displays. I'm such a visual person. I want things hanging on my wall. I want things, I want to see them somehow. I think what would be really amazing is, man, isn't it cool to think like with AI, like an AI plugin that you could take all of someone's dreams that they've listed in maybe you're already doing this, by the way. I can't.
I love it.
Say this, like take all their dreams and like, how chat has the image creator and is it Mind Journey and all these really cool apps that you like plug in the keywords and then it shows you an image of it. It's like an on-demand instant vision board or like artwork or like take all my dreams, find the theme and then show me the image that brings that to life.
I love that.
And by the way, I would be geeking out about seeing somebody's dreams in a visual.
Yeah. I think about that even for 2024. Like tomorrow, we're going to do our 2024 ones.
Yeah.
And I think that would be even for me, a better graphic because it's the idea of the vision board or the dream board, right? But it's all of for next year to hang, where I can see it every day.
Oh, and a family printout, a family poster. Like if the family uploads their dream, or a team, like, hey, we got 8 people on our team. We got 50 people on our team. Everybody put their dreams in. And this is like the shared image. It takes all the words, it aggregates the data, and it like finds the thread, and then builds an image around it that everybody hangs in their office. And like, that's us as a team. There's a boat sailing, and it's like, just mixes all the dreams together. So cool, man. I love this. I love dreaming in moments like this. I love celebrating your success. I mean, we were saying this, I think, before we hit record. It's like, this is your life. Like, Dane Espegard, married, father with 3 girls, great friends, you're traveling, you're making money, doing things you care about, you're doing good in the world, you're helping people chase their dreams. Like, dude, like, this is a dream. Like, it's funny. It's like, you are the living the dream statement,
I pinch myself often that it's like, hey, I couldn't have imagined it in this place. But I think that's what you had said is, knowing 10, 15, 20 years ago that this would be what the situation is. I couldn't have wrapped my head around it to be able to say I'm creating a business that's centered around dreams is sounds like a pipe dream.
We need this too, man, because, as I say all that, there's always this part of my heart whenever I celebrate somebody or talk about what's great, talk about how great your life is. Like, there is an awareness in my heart of people that are listening to this that are in a dark place. There's somebody listening to this that just got news that a family member was diagnosed with cancer. There's somebody who's listening to this who their heart is in these war-torn countries. There's people listening to this that are reminded of the very real and very challenging and very dark and hurtful and evil things, if you will, that exist around the world. And I just want to say to everybody listening, and I'm saying this because I want people to know my heart. I want to be compassionate to all that. And I think that we need the dreams too, man. I think that we need to keep the light. We need to keep our mind open to these possibilities of like the dream of peace, the dream of, our entire global society tapping into what makes them come alive. I think this is a part that we need to keep. And of course it's timing. And of course there's a moment to bring this up. You're not teaching the dreams workshop at a funeral. There's a time and a place for all these things in life. But this is an important piece of life. It's an important part. And that's why I wanted to honor it in that way and celebrate it with you and talk about how great your life is. Because it's not like you're without challenges. If we were on a different show, we could talk about all the things that are kicking your ass in different times in life, and what's happened over the course of Dane's entire existence, where
I would list one of the fastest ones to say I lost at Can Jam at the last Front Row Dash.
So many people lost money on that.
But I couldn't agree more with even when things aren't great. I think it's it's the whole idea of a better tomorrow. I've got on my wall a quote that we remain young to the degree that our ambitions remain greater than our memories. And I love that, to think of. I've always said, and I don't know where I heard this from, but the idea of I'm a work in progress. And it's like, well, I have to, if I'm always in motion, if I want to be moving towards a desired outcome, it's like, I have to know what those things are, even if I'm in turmoil at the very moment.
Yeah. Dane, do you talk about dreams at home? Like, is it come up at dinner? Does Sunny comment on her dreams yet?
Yeah, her first word was dream. It was pretty amazing.
How do you bring it up to the family? Like, you're driving down the road and you're like, tell me about your dreams, kids.
So we do talk about every single morning. We ask, do you remember your dreams? So
that's cool.
It's a little different, but it is the idea of like every day the word dream is being spoken.
That's cool. House. I like that.
And so we ask, hey, do you remember your dreams? And usually it's I had a dream. Do you remember? Not quite. Or very rarely is it, yes, I do remember. in the evening, my wife does a little prayer, and it is about, in there we talk about, having great dreams. And then in regards to like dreaming for the future, we talk all the time about the idea of anything is within your reach. And so that to me is, I don't want it to be some topic that's out there. I really want the idea of dreaming to be like, oh, well, no, dreaming is just another word for me working towards what my goals are.
Yeah.
And the idea of a dream can be as big and as crazy as you want it to be, and we can still at least take steps to that direction. So we talk about it often in the house. My kids are still 7 and 5. It's still somewhat, we do the dreams exercise every so often, but it's neat to see how their lists evolve, but they're still more focused on animal, what animals they can own and places they want to go.
Beautiful dreams. I love that. I remember when my sister and I were younger, we drew our dream house. I remember this as one of my earliest memories. She brought it up recently. So she's 3 years older than I am, 48, she's 51. And we were talking about who knows how old we were, 7, 8, 9, I don't know, somewhere in that era. But she's like, I remember your drawing. I was like, I remember yours. I remember being like, over here, we're going to have pandas. Like with this on a piece of paper, we're drawing out our dream house.
Awesome.
I'm going to have a tigers over here, pandas over here. There's something really cool about that, because I think it tells us something about our nature when we're not being practical, that we want to connect with nature. We like, that's why animals show up, is like, that's it, man. That's when we care about all these creatures, all these the beautiful differences between all these creatures that walk the earth, or fly around the earth. And yeah, man, I think those especially the early dreams are beautiful. This is a great transition for us to talk about what I teased earlier, which is this: we're going to host. Oh, hold on. Let me take myself out of this. Dane is going to host a dreams session for people who want to dig in with their family. I'm not going to say any more about it. Dane, I want you to talk about it, but I do want to say that we're going to point you to frontrowdads.com/dreams with an S. We'll probably make it with and without an S just to capture all of it. But frontrowdads.com/dreams is where you'll go when you listen to this episode, or where you'll go the day of, in order to connect to what we're presenting, we're offering, which is wonderful. Because I just want to say also, Dane, that I know this is a gift that you're giving to the community. Your most valued resource, as many for us, is time. It's, time with us means that you're maybe not with your family. In this case, you actually might be with your family. I don't know. So talk to us a little bit about what's going to happen and why somebody might want to be there, right? What's going to happen when they're with us for this session?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what, when I'm hired by a company, I'll go in and do a dreams workshop. It's essentially what this is going to be. It'll be a little targeted more towards the family dynamic, but I'm a firm believer that dreaming is like a muscle. And many individuals, as they get older, they have fatigue of this muscle. And so if you were to say, what are your dreams? There's a lot of people, when you ask them, they'll say, like, what do you mean? And they just they don't have any clarity around it, let alone, all these categories and all these things. So the idea and the goal of a dreams workshop is to get people using that muscle again. And so what I do is I take people through 9 different categories. And it's basically a massive brainstorming session. And so I'll go through the categories are travel, adventure, health, family and relationships, financial and career, spirituality, creativity. There's 9 different ones that we go through. But the idea is that we want to touch every area of somebody's life. And there's categories that are big for people. There's categories that are small for people. And we just want to get a bunch of things down. And they're not things that we're committing to. They're things that would maybe at some time in my life be the right timing. And if I had the opportunity to experience whatever that is, it would light me up. And that's really what we're after, is more opportunities to really, engage our full being in an experience or accomplishment or just the pursuit of something. So in the workshop, there's a little bit of setup of kind of making sure everybody's got the framework in terms of the right mental space to be able to engage in this. And then we go to town through the 9 categories. There's a little bit of sharing with either small groups on Zoom or people that are going to be at home with their families. And then at the very end, we take a little bit of action. That's why December is kind of a perfect month for it. We'll take a little action on, hey, let's try and isolate and identify maybe 5 to 10 that are potential for 2024. And then that's what I'll leave them with to say, now you go with, husband, wife, partner, whoever, to go say, how can we make these things work for 2024?
So it's December 17th that we're going to do this. Is this 6 p.m. Central?
Yeah, we'll do 6 p.m. Central. Yep.
Okay, 6 p.m. Central, December 17th. We picked this on, or Dane, I should say, picked this on a Sunday so that it's more accessible, more people can join. So I'm planning to do with my family is just put this on the calendar, hang it up in the kitchen, start talking about it now. Like, hey, let's think about some of our dreams so we go into it. But who should be there, Dane? Like who's invited? Kids of what age? No kids, spouses, like who should come?
So I absolutely think spouses. And we were talking about this before, but I feel like one of the challenges with somebody going through the Dreams Workshop and not their partner is similar to when a dad goes to sometimes a front row dad retreat and they're like, how do I get my wife to understand these things? It's like, well, there's always a challenge there when you're the one that received the information and they weren't there for it. Yeah. And so I think with dreaming, it can be a lot if you come to your partner and you're like, hey, I just wrote down 120 dreams for myself that I really want to go after. It's tough for the other person to hear that because we have regular conversations in every relationship around budget, right? And timing and all that. And so sometimes that can feel not great to the other person. So in a perfect world, husband and wife partners are together for this. So they're both, creating their own list at the same time. And then they have the opportunity to engage on that list after. I think teenage kids, for sure, this would be fantastic. My oldest is 7. She still enjoys the conversation. Attention wise, we're probably going to go from 6 p.m. to around 8:30 p.m. So for, 7-year-old, that's a little difficult for them to stay focused on all the topics and all that. But I still think they have some good stuff that comes from it. At least starts that conversation. But husband and wives for sure.
But somebody could have this on speakerphone. This isn't this isn't Front Row Dad podcast, which is really for men, for adults, for anybody, by the way, but it's not filtered. We language can be colorful on this show, but in this workshop that we're talking about, this is clean. This is
100%
appropriate. All kids, we're not digging into your sexual fantasies and all that. We're just
I leave those ones off when I do
down, but it's not the prompt, right? It's not the prompt. So it's it's for all ages is what we're saying. 2 hours, put it on the calendar. Can somebody kind of come and go if they wanted? Like, is it something that they could better to be there beginning to end, but if they had to jump on and off, could they?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the reasons I'm choosing a Sunday evening for it is I feel like there's less competition for kids sports, activities, family events, that type of stuff. So I'm a firm believer that somebody should be there for the whole amount, but I'm a little biased, as the person.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You want to get the setup, you want to get you want to be all the way through the journey for sure. And honestly, think about this, like 2 hours of dedicated time to just give yourself space to think, like sit down. Do you recommend eating before or after? Does it matter?
I would probably say before, but I would also say when we're doing the brainstorming, the thought jogging stuff, you could be mowing down
on whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Dude, put some healthy snacks out on the table, pour yourself a glass of water, get people, get your spouse and maybe, any kid that feels like they would be excited about it and just sit around the table. I really want to see Tiger and Ocean do this. I really am excited to learn about Tatiana's dreams. This is going to be really cool. So guys, once again, frontrowdads.com/dreams, frontrowdads.com/dreams will get you to the, we're either going to direct that directly to the workshop link, or we're going to have a landing page there. We haven't decided yet, but either way, in advance or at the time of the recording, go to that link and that will likely get you to where you need to be. 2 hours, bring your spouse, and you don't have to bring your spouse either, right? It could be, you can come solo if you want.
Yeah, for sure. No, and even to go back to that question of like, hey, if somebody's on and off, if at the end of the day they weren't there for the whole thing, but they wrote down 25, 30 things, that's great. That's better than what it was before the session.
Yeah, 100%. And what we're attempting to do, by the way, as we share this link, we'll try to give you also any pre-work that could help you. But the pre-work could be just start talking about some dreams with your family, start warming it up a little bit. And I think that'll be great. What's also nice about having a facilitator, I have found, is if I sit down sometimes and ask Tatiana about her dreams and we start talking about it, it also brings all of our trauma, our triggers of the last 17 years of being in a relationship where any discussion we have can be triggering, right? It can be. It doesn't have to be, but it can be, because she could say, well, I know you're probably not going to support this dream, but here it is anyway. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm not going to support the dream? And then it's all derailed. And then you're but it's wonderful when you have a facilitator that's guiding and prompting, because then you can both just sink into enjoying the process. And it's not about you versus your spouse, and you're not debating your dreams and whether or not you can financially afford them, or whether or not the timing on the calendar. Yeah, you always say that dream, but you never follow through on that dream. Like, there's no space for that now. It's just dreaming and letting Dane take the lead and just lean into Dane's facilitation.
John, I ran into this last night. I was facilitating my wife's, and I'm looking at all the ones that she wrote down. And there was a few times that I was like, that's not I like had to catch and I'm supposed to be the dreams guy, but there were times where I was like, that's probably not a 2024 one, right? Like trying to buy myself some time. But then she had to remind me, she's like, stop judging. I was like, oh, I gotta catch from it. But it's absolutely true.
Oh, sweetie, you want to live on 30 acres on the lake downtown Austin next year? Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, totally possible.
Let's do that. No problem. Easy to, 60 million, no problem. All right, guys. So that's it. I don't think I'm missing anything here. I do want you to talk. That's not it. That's it for that. But here's the other thing. So we wanted to have this conversation because we wanted to invite the entire Front Row Dads community, everybody that listens to the show, to join us. But the one other thing that I want Dane to talk about before you go, and how are you, by the way, on time, Dane? You got a couple more minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Talk about Front Row Dads Live, because as this airs, you're going to be with us in person, which I'm thrilled about. And we're going to be doing a little bit of a session there live in the room at the Line Hotel, downtown Austin, December 6th through the 8th. We've got 100 men that are going to be there. There's still are likely a couple tickets left if you want to go save a spot. These are 3 days in December that will change all of your 365 days in 2024. Nothing beats in-person events. Nothing beats hanging around 100 epic dudes. You are the average of the people that you spend the most time with. And these are 100 of the best men I know on the planet who are coming together. And I'm pumped that you're going to be sharing, speaking, and you've got the mic for a little while. So Dane, give a preview as to what men can expect.
Yeah, the retreats are like, that's what fills me up, are going to the retreats. And it's like, when I go, I'm filled up for the next 6 months, and then I go to another one. And so, I couldn't be a stronger advocate for the in-person events. So what to expect, basically the unfiltered. So I'm going to give you all the sexual fantasies. I'm just kidding.
That's right. We got a list for you. You can only get it at the event.
No, so it'll be, so basically I'm going to focus in on one of the pillars, like one of the categories. So it'll be it'll be a mini dreams session essentially. And I'm going to, lead all the men through the setup of the idea of how to implement something like this and the conversation in general into their family. And then we're going to do a brainstorming session just on the family and relationships category. And so we'll focus on that. They can expect to get a ton of ideas tossed at them in terms of some direction or intentions or traditions that they'd like to instill or to revisit that maybe they've done in the past. for that category. And so, I mean, a lot of that stuff I've gotten from Front Row Dad's conversations to say, oh, that's so cool. And the legato principle, I'm going to take that and put that on my list. And so it's basically the highlight reel of many of the topics that we've discussed all in one session that you're able to get down. And then at the very end, we'll do a little bit of sharing with some of their, their peers and then some ideas on what they can do between then and the 17th for the family session as well.
So cool. I'm thrilled. It's going to be a great event. And Dane, thanks for taking time to be with us, be with me today to talk about these things, man. It gets me pumped. And I love that it's as simple as like, yeah, dreams. I got it. Like, I know I should dream. It's so easy to get arrogant about it. But if you sink into it, if you just like give yourself a little space and a little time and just like let the guard down a little bit to be so productive and just let yourself relax into the possibility of the future. You tap into your inner 8-year-old, your inner 12-year-old, your inner child. You play a little more and you let go of the constructs and the realities and all those things. Like, it is a game changer. It is a game changer. If there's like ingredients throughout your year, the best of the best, the people that have achieved the things I want to achieve in my life, they all talk about dreams. They all do. I mean, I was just with, my business coach is Dan Martell, and I was with him in California yesterday. And we were talking about dreams. We're talking about chasing dreams and reviewing dreams and looking at our dreams every day. And in fact, when we talked about, the Front Row Dad 5, I'm holding it up to the camera right now for people who can't see it. These are the 5 FRD daily commitments: daily sweat, intentions and goals, reading 10 pages, connect with the family, and a band check-in. Band check-in is like your small group, but checking in on the guy. It's basically saying, check in on the guys that are most important in your life. Like, check in on them. How are they? Hold each other accountable to higher standards. But it's right there. Our dreams, our goals are what we're chasing, what we're going after, the future that we're calling into the present moment. Thrilled, man. People can go get your book. It's on Amazon, The Dream Machine. They can check out the website, thedreamsvault.com. And guys, Dane's in Front Row Dads. He's a brother. He's here. So if you're with us at the event, you'll be able to shake his hand. You'll be able to meet him and ask questions. But imagine having access to 100 men's dreams for their families, the ideas that will be kicked up for you, right? The rising tide of that group. Like, it's going to be fun to track, Dane, the dreams that were created in that room and the lives that will be altered as a result of that. Like, that's a big lever to pull.
Yeah, that's been one of the coolest and most rewarding parts of this, is that when I lead the Dreams Workshop, I'm giving brainstorming ideas. And then when people share, I'm stealing with the best of them. I'm jotting down so many awesome ones from that.
We should do, man. We should do. All right, guys, that's it. frontrowdads.com/dreams. Go there, get the info, join with your family. December 17th, 6 p.m. I think we said, right? 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Central time. But we'll put all that, in some form to get to you. And by the way, we'll email our whole list. So if you're just not even on the Front Row Dad email list, get on that. We won't burden you too much. We might be burdening you right now with Front Row Dad Live. I'm saying we won't spam you, but I'm like, I think we're sending out a shit ton of emails right now. I think we're spamming you right now. But very seldomly do we actually pull that lever. But we want people to know about this event, because look, man, we could be at 100 dudes, but if there's the 101st guy and he really needs to be in that room, I just want him to know about it. So that's it. Thank you for being here, Dane. Appreciate you, man.
Always. Yeah, always. Like, right back at you. Love any conversation that we have the time for.